My name is Keaton. I am a co-op student here at the School of Accounting and Finance and University of Waterloo. I'm accompanied by Farah, who will introduce herself in a second. My role here is to be the behind-the-scenes coordinator / logistics specialist for this event. The presenter for this workshop is Patty, who will introduce herself in a second.
So thanks, Eden. My name is Farah, and I'm also a co-op student at the School of Accounting and Finance, and I'm working with Eden today and tomorrow to coordinate these 5 workshops. Yeah, so now we'll pass it over to Patty to start, introduce yourself and start the presentation.
Thanks, Keaton. Thanks, Farah. Welcome, welcome, DECA delegates and to the LDA conference for 2021. Give me one quick second. I am going to share my screen. And I'm hoping that, Keaton, Farah, can you give me a thumbs up that you guys can see? Perfect. All right, we're gonna jump right in. So to introduce myself, my name's Patty Ma. I am the Associate Director of Communications and External Relations for the School of Accounting and Finance at the University of Waterloo. In my role, I lead a team of experts like Farah and Keaton that provide support and lead for SAF in 3 key areas: to build brand and reputation for the School of Accounting and Finance, to recognize and celebrate the successes of our students, professors, and alumni, and to implement an integrative communications and digital experience for all SAF stakeholders. I am also a graduate of the University of Waterloo and have been working for the university for almost 25 years. I'm also a senior facilitator for the university's Student Success Office, teaching and facilitating leadership, communications, networking, and conflict resolution courses and workshops for the last 15 years. So let's get started. The business ecosystem is experiencing a level of disruption not witnessed since the Industrial Revolution. Add a global pandemic to the mix, and you have a leadership challenge for a new era. What will the new work environment and workforce look like? What does it take to be an effective leader in our new environment? And how can a leader in this new norm motivate collaborative teams? So before we dive deep into the meat and potatoes of the workshop, first polling question for you. You'll have 30 seconds to answer. And the answer is, your answers are totally anonymous, and it's just yes or no question. Do you feel technology and AI will negatively impact your job search after you graduate from university or college? So 30 seconds to answer yes or no to the polling question.
I will open that soon. Give me 1 second. Sorry, give me 1 second. The chat is just in the way of me opening the poll. Okay. The poll's open.
So 30 seconds to answer. Do you feel technology and AI will negatively impact your job search after you graduate from university?
Seven more seconds till the poll closes.
Excellent. So let's see the results.
Yep, that will come up in. The WebEx is just waiting for participants to submit responses, and the results will show up in a few seconds. There you go.
Excellent. Oh, good stuff. Interesting. Most of you, well, more than half of you are very optimistic. So definitely keep this in mind. Take a look at the percentages and let's see whether or not the workshop will change your mind as we move through. So leadership in the new norm after the global pandemic can potentially be very different as businesses pivot their HR models and business practices to adjust to our new working environments. In today's workshop, we'll explore what leadership means to you and your own leadership style, along with communication styles and how it can influence and motivate your teams. So question number 2, polling question number 2, do you define leadership with a big L or a little L? Again, yes or no question, and 30 seconds to respond. There's no right or wrong answer, so just answer honestly and what you think.
10 more seconds.
So the big L is just a capital L on the word leadership, and the little L is just a little L on the word leadership. That's all it is.
All right, so most of you are defining leadership with a big L, so 57% of you. So I, again, keep these percentages in mind, and we'll see whether or not your mind changes or your opinion changes as we move through the workshop. So what is leadership? You've probably joined DECA to challenge yourself and to build some of the skills you believe are required to be a great leader. So I come back to what is leadership and what makes for a great leader. So you can find lots of information on what it means or how to be a good leader, as well as a ton of leadership activities online and in books, in libraries, pretty much everywhere. And everyone has an opinion about leadership. But what and how does leadership look like in the new virtual, remote, work from home or hybrid environment? And what does leadership mean to you? Leadership is defined as the art of motivating a group of people to act towards a common goal. A leader is the inspiration and director of action. A leader possesses the combination of personality and leadership skills that make others want to follow their direction. An important component of leadership is self-awareness and knowing yourself and being authentic. This hasn't changed because of the global pandemic, and it won't change as the world adjusts and transitions to a new norm of virtual environments. What has and will change is how you approach leadership. The biggest mistake or myth about leadership is the glorification of leadership skills and the practice of leadership by those thinking that leadership is only about commanding, telling, demanding things of others. And this is normally defined as the big L leadership. By only thinking that leadership is telling people what to do attracts those who are motivated by the spotlight and power rather than the ideas and the people they serve. It teaches students to be a leader for the sake of being in charge, rather than in the name of a cause or an idea that they care deeply about. The difference between being in charge and leadership to inspire a team or for the betterment of a cause or idea are two very different things. The latter develops transformative leaders like Barack Obama, Dr. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa. The former, we have a big example in that in the last 4 years of presidency, to which we luckily won't have to bear witness to this type of leadership anymore. So being a leader, as in telling people what to do, is easy. Anyone can do that. The challenge comes in knowing who you are, what your passions are, and then working towards developing the skills to be an inspirational and authentic leader versus a demanding leader who has a false sense of superiority. So for those that answered big L for leadership, That was somewhat of a trick question. And if you didn't know that big L leadership meant demanding, commanding, and for the sake of power and versus inspirational and authenticity. So that was a little bit of a trick, so I apologize. So now let's take a look at some of the leadership challenges for the new norm. Disruption, both from advancements in technology and AI, but also due to the global pandemic. Tech and AI advancements will certainly replace some jobs, but new jobs will be created to manage, govern, and account for the work that's been replaced by technology and AI. Disruption provides opportunities for all industries to adapt and create new jobs, and specific to the accounting and finance professions, it means finding more ways to add value in different ways. So let me provide you with an example. 30 years ago, with the introduction of network computers, jobs that entailed manually matching physical invoices with paperwork became obsolete. But the accounting professions who held these roles didn't lose their jobs, but rather their focus changed. The automation of matching invoices to paperwork provided then more time for the accounting professionals to add value by verifying the invoices and its amounts and resolving any discrepancies early in the financial reporting or audit stage. So where accounting and finance professionals will add value in this time of disruption is through governance and accountability. So think about the number of major decisions that are being made using a ton of data and lots of data. And the questions about the relevancy of this data, the verifiability of the data, the accuracy of the data, and the risks of making decisions on both inadequate amounts of data or wrong data or misinterpreted data. There are a multitude of issues, and the concept around trust and data is where the accounting and finance professions will fill the gap. So although tech and AI are producing a ton of data and will eventually replace some jobs, accounting and finance professionals and in every industry will find other ways to add value. So the global pandemic is disrupting business models, and leaders are more challenged to communicate and engage with their teams because the way with which we work within an online and remote setting means that teams can't connect in person to get work done. And as a manager or a team lead, you're not able to consistently check the work of your team. So consider the fact that 70% of an individual's engagement is driven by their management and team lead. There are three key things that leaders need to incorporate for themselves and their teams to be effective and productive in an online and remote environment. And that's communication, accountability, and individualization. Communication is listed as the top key factor for effective leaders in an online remote environment because your communication channels are now limited to mostly faceless delivery or an impersonal virtual platform. So case in point, how many of you have had an email or text communication where you've misinterpreted it because you can't interpret the tone of the email or the tone of the text? So if the tone is too harsh, there aren't any facial expressions to soften the sting or the ability to drop by someone's office or just drop in on them to explain or ask for clarity. So first activity that we have, you will have 2 minutes to complete this. And this is quest number 1 of a scavenger hunt. You are required to find things in and around the house or the dwelling with which you are currently in, but you can't go outside of that dwelling, and you will need to find 4 objects. But before you find those 4 objects, I need all of you to turn on your cameras and take note, and I'll repeat what the objects that I need you to find. So there are 4 objects that I'll need you to find. You'll have 2 minutes to find them. and they are, I need you to find a paper notebook, not an electronic notebook. I need you to grab your favorite pen, not pencil. Grab a paper calendar, not an electronic calendar. And lastly, a Band-Aid. So ready? 2 minutes, start now.
Okay, guys, we are gonna make you all panelists so you're able to unmute yourself and turn on your video.
So I made everyone panelists, and now you have the access to control unmute and your videos as well. There are some people saying their camera doesn't work or they don't have a camera. Just let us know and we'll note that down.
Okay. You have 1 minute left to find and to grab a paper notebook, your favorite pen, a paper calendar, and a Band-Aid.
Hi, sorry. I have a problem. I don't have any paper calendars that are like feasible to just like pick up and like use right now.
That's
Anything-
okay.
Yeah, if you can find something that relates to it, maybe that would be good.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
30 seconds left. We're down to 15 seconds.
Do we show our stuff now or no?
Nope, you don't need to show your stuff, but hang on to it. 3, 2, 1. Excellent, everyone. Let me just share my screen again. All right, excellent, everyone. Thank you so much. While we have your cameras on, for those of you, if you wish, you can turn your cameras off at this point. But for those of you who wish to keep it on, you certainly can. We're moving into our next polling question. And again, you'll have 30 seconds to respond. And this one's a multiple choice question. So in your opinion, do you feel the future of work will be A, a remote work from home environment, B, hybrid of in-office and work from home environment, or C, back to normal pre-COVID environment? So you have 30 seconds to respond.
I will open that in 1 second. Sorry, the chat just keeps popping up and then it just gets in the way of me opening up the poll. Okay, awesome. 30 seconds.
All right. Again, no wrong answer, just what you think, in your opinion, what the future of work will be.
Five more seconds until the poll closes.
All right. This one, I'm always interested in seeing what people think the future of work will look like.
Okay.
Ooh, wow. A ton of you, like nearly 80% of you, think that it will be a hybrid of in-office and work from home environment. So good thought. Again, keep that in mind. I personally agree with you. I think we are going to be moving into a future of work where it's a hybrid model. because case in point, you'll have some companies like Shopify, where in July of 2020, they announced that they were fully work from home environment. They still do have office space, but it's office and conference spaces for larger meetings and events that Shopify hosts. But there are many, many organizations that are also considering the same thing as Shopify, but may just be a little slower in adopting a fully remote home environment, and there are just as many that are now moving towards a hybrid of in-office and work from home. Oops, wrong way, sorry. There we go. So 2 slides ago, we defined what leadership means, but what types of skills or abilities do you have to fulfill that definition? Great leaders possess self-awareness, passion, and authenticity in order to inspire and motivate teams towards a common goal, cause, or idea. Great leaders also possess team skills and are expert problem solvers and effective communicators. These are all transferable skills that would be valuable in any role, in any industry, for any organization. Great leaders lead by having the moral and ethical courage to take responsibility of being a role model, in knowing when to take the lead, to delegate, advise, and/or mentor. But more importantly, the mark of a great leader is the ability to recognize when to step aside and provide guidance versus leadership. Of course, as DECA students, you're on your way to becoming an authentic leader with the training that you've gained and the skills that you've developed by participating in DECA events such as the LDA. You'll be well prepared for university and beyond. So, as DECA delegates, you'll have many, many opportunities to gain experiences that will develop transferable skills that will be beneficial for you today and in the future. Transferable skills are defined as, and also called, soft skills or competencies, which is different from technical skills. The top transferable skills employers look for are team skills, problem solving, and communication. So why is it important to develop transferable skills as aspiring professionals and leaders versus industry or job-specific skills, also known as technical skills? For any employment opportunity, you'll need to be able to demonstrate specific set of skills needed specific for that role. Some of these skills will be specific to the industry and/or job, while others, your transferable skills, are those that you can build on and develop throughout your aspiring career. As an aspiring professional, just beginning to build your employment experiences, you may not have a lot of industry or job-specific skills an employer may be looking for. So it's more important for you to be able to demonstrate how your transferable skills can be applied to the role. So benefits of transferable skills include flexibility, diversity, portability, and employability. In an increasingly competitive job market, companies want to recruit employees who can diversify and complete multiple tasks and roles. When you have a diverse set of skills, this will set you apart from other applicants and show that you have greater flexibility. The more transferable skills you have, the more diversity you can offer to a potential employer. The experiences that you have had during your studies, your extracurriculars like DECA or academic projects have all provided you with opportunities to develop a range of skills which can be applied to any role. The nature of transferable skills simply means that they can be taken with you when you move jobs or advance within the same organization. As you progress, the skills that you currently have will improve and be enhanced, and you'll also gain new ones. Even if you have very little work experience, building a strong resume around your transferable skills will strengthen your chances of success. Although you may not have direct work experience, these transferable skills will demonstrate that you can adapt to new demands. So transferable skills are still just as important in your leadership development, but when but within an online and remote environment, there are other challenges that leaders face. So communicating effectively is the ability to present ideas in a clear and concise manner, oral and written, within one-on-one and group settings, and the ability to present under pressure. But in an online and remote environment, it needs to be more frequent and engaging your team on an individual and team basis. It's more important now and potentially in our new norm after the pandemic to stay engaged with your team more frequently, but also to diversify how you engage and communicate. For example, the University of Waterloo utilizes platforms like MS Teams, WebEx, chat, DM platforms, Zoom, and in addition to email and the good old simple phone calls. For me personally, I make it a point to have weekly check-ins with each person on my team and as a team, and we meet a minimum of 3 times per week to stay connected, to ensure my team is doing well work-wise, as well as mentally and physically, because a work-from-home environment can take a toll on people's mental well-being. I also encourage my team to connect with each other and to ensure that they're connecting and continuing to build their team relationships. So this is where you'll make use of the notebook, the pen, and the calendar that you went to look for during your quest number 1 of the scavenger hunt. When meeting with your team to discuss projects, tasks, and to ensure that your team is doing well, working in a work from home environment. You'll need the workbook, or sorry, the notebook to take down the notes, the pen to use for notes, and calendar to schedule those individual and team meetings. The Band-Aid is symbolic of all of the issues that you'll need to be understanding and empathetic of in order to resolve issues amongst your team or within the individuals, or just challenges within a work from home environment. All these options to communicate means that you're polishing your communication skills in different ways, which will ultimately make you more valuable to an employer. And of course, communication being one of the top 3 transferable skills that employers look for. So let's move on to polling question number 4. This too is a multiple choice. Again, there's no wrong answer. You'll have 30 seconds to respond. So having completed the pre-work assignments and the self-assessments, pull out the style of leadership communication style worksheet, and I would like you to respond. What is your style of leadership communication? Is it an authoritative style, a democratic style, or a laissez-faire style? Again, there isn't one correct leadership communication style, and we'll talk a little bit more about the differences between the 3 communication styles after the poll is completed.
What if you have more than one communication style on here?
Yeah, I got the same sum for 2 of them.
Okay, so in your answer, select which one you think is more you.
Okay.
I will show the poll results in a few seconds.
Ooh, okay, excellent. So it looks like about 50% of you are democratic, which means that you provide support and encourage participation, and you're very team oriented. Again, there isn't a right or a correct answer. All 3 leadership communication styles should be utilized at any given time, but it depends on the environment and it depends on the situation in terms of which type of leadership communication style that you'll need to use. So I encourage you to review those leadership communication styles again, maybe not now, but maybe in a month, in half a year, in a year from now, to see where where you sit in terms of your preferred leadership communication style. Okay, but just note that there isn't a correct one. All three need to be utilized depending on situation. All right, so let's move on to scavenger hunt quest number 2. Again, you'll have 2 minutes to complete this. And I will ask that each one of you turn on your camera to showcase your business formal attire. I should see everyone turn on their cameras and everyone at least from the waist up in formal business attire, because this conference required you to be in business formal. So in addition to that, 3 other things that I want you to find for your scavenger hunt. Find a motivational quote that means something to you personally. Open your contacts app on your cell phone and find something that symbolizes a hobby that you have outside of school. And what I'd like for you to do is showcase that symbol of your hobby in front of the camera. So are we ready? 2 minutes start now.
What if we don't have a phone?
So if you don't have a phone, if you have a physical address book, that works as well. But if not, that's okay.
Okay.
Wait, what do we need the contacts for? Like to find a symbol of?
Nope. So that's one of, so I'm looking for, you need to find a motivational quote that means something to you personally. You need to open your contacts app on your phone and then find something that symbolizes a hobby that you have outside of school. And you have 1 minute and 15 seconds left.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. One minute left. We're down to 30 seconds.
Do we hold it up now or do we wait till?
No, you can hold it up now. Just so that everyone can see, because I'm curious. I'd love to see what your hobbies are. Okay, cool. I see everything from photos of skiing to paint palettes, and we are done. Okay, so let's take a minute to take a look at what everyone's hobbies are. Is that a right angle triangle that I see, Edwin? Is that you? Is math your hobby?
Yeah. I
Oh my.
Any math.
Attaboy, Edwin.
And Massimo, is that golf? Is that a golf ball?
So it's a tennis ball.
Tennis ball. Okay, excellent. And I see medals for running, Ella, or gymnastics, dancing.
Mine's actually wrestling. It's a high school tournament.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. We didn't have wrestling as a varsity sport in my high school, so
I
sad.
actually got this one in grade 7, believe it or not.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, and I see guitar, awesome music, more ribbons. Wow, you guys are pretty accomplished here. Like, excellent. Guitar picks, more ribbons. Wow, fantastic. And more drawing. That's awesome. Okay, peeps. I'm going to reshare my screen, and you can put your turn your cameras off now if you wish, and we will continue, but I will reference and come back to the things that I have asked you to grab for your scavenger hunt.
So quickly, for those whose cameras aren't working, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. It's okay. We understand there's technical difficulties.
Yep. And again, this is the new norm of a remote and online team, because this could be a team meeting that we have. And if you have technical issues, or if you don't have access to your camera or can't figure that out, that's perfectly okay. Don't sweat it. So let's move on. So when people are in the office, it's easier to have one set of rules for everyone. But with the global pandemic, many are working from home without a dedicated office. And when peeps on your team who have roommates or young children, and when neighborhood broadband connections are stressed to capacity, individualization is king. An effective leader will need to define where structure is required, such as defining hours during the workday where everyone should be available, like say, for example, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and where it's flexible, like shortening 1-hour meetings to 30 minutes to avoid the virtual meeting fatigue. So leaders need to know their team's needs as well. Does a team member have young children at home that aren't in daycare and require some flexibility within their workday? For example, a parent with young children may be able to meet the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. availability every day because it's nap time for his or her kids, but often will need more flexibility outside of that time frame to make up the remaining of their day. So from your second quest, turning on your camera and dressing in business formal demonstrates the structure that you and your team still need to abide by. So obviously, if you're working from home, you can be comfy and wear clothes you want, but of course you still need to wear clothes, right? So, and secondly, the motivational quote showcases that everyone is different and need to take this, and that leaders and team leads need to take this into consideration, hence individualizing how you connect with your team. Your cell phone offers a number of different ways you can connect with your team: phone call, text, DMs through apps, or virtually through FaceTime or Duo apps or WhatsApp apps. And when you hold up the item that symbolizes your hobby outside of school, this showcases the fact that we all have other things happening in our lives that we need to be flexible and understanding of in connecting with our teams. So individualization also means how a leader communicates with their team and being open and flexible to meet your team where they prefer. So whether that be text, DM, email, phone call, or virtual meetings. The strategies you implement to individualize how you connect and communicate with your team ultimately helps to build your team's teamwork skills. Again, one of the top 3 transferable skills that employers look for. So you can now turn off your cameras if you wish, or actually, nope, turn them back on. Last quest for the scavenger hunt. And this one, you'll be given 3 minutes and you'll be required to find 4 items. And again, I'll repeat the 4 items once I turn on my camera. So what you'll need to find is a Post-it notepad or a sticky notepad, a paper copy of notes you've taken in class or an assignment, or the 3 surveys you were able to complete for this workshop if you printed them. A photo, a physical photo, no, doesn't have to be physical, could be on your phone, a photo of your DECA team, and then a physical board game or puzzle. So not an electronic one, but I need a physical board game or puzzle. So you have 3 minutes, and I'll start the timer now.
Wait, what was the second object? Was it?
Oh,
Was the second object the leadership thing that we had to do? Like, is these one?
so the second object that you need to find is paper copy of notes, whether that be an assignment or taken in class notes, or the 3 surveys that you had to complete.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks.
So the other 3 items: Post-it note or sticky notepad, a photo of your DECA team, and an actual physical board game or puzzle.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And for this one, you don't have to showcase anything. You just have to go gather and have it readily available. So you have 2 minutes left.
So are we gonna use it after?
You could potentially use it. So don't want to give away the excitement.
What if you don't have a photo of your DECA team?
That's okay. Take a selfie because you are the DECA team.
Okay.
One minute 30 left. So maybe this scavenger hunt didn't require 3 full minutes, because I'm seeing I'm seeing peeps already back at their desks. One minute left.
May I use the washroom?
Yes. So just quick reminder for everyone, this workshop does go till 6:15. So we're almost done, and then we'll open up the floor for Q&A. So you have 15 seconds left. Three, two, one. All right, everyone, let me just reshare my screen. All righty. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So when everyone is physically present, it tends to be easier to evaluate the level of effort people are putting in and the output your team is generating. So working in an online and remote setting poses challenges, making it harder to count or measure productivity when you aren't aware of what your team is doing with their time at home. As leaders, you can't neglect accountability, but at the same time, you also need to trust your team. As a manager or team lead, you need to create or improve the systems that hold your team accountable that's effective for everyone who is working remotely. The foundation of accountability in an online and remote environment is communication, but it also includes tools for measuring timelines and deliverables, check-ins, and evaluation of submitted work. It's important that everyone understands the quality of work expected from them while working remotely. As a leader or manager of teams, you need to also be prepared to assess and hold your team members accountable for their continued performance. For example, My team uses a number of online task and project management tools so that everyone has visibility on what's important now. My team's weekly individual and team check-in meetings, plus additional meetings for larger projects, keeps the team motivated and provides opportunity to connect and talk about progress, next steps, and priorities. I also have implemented consistent questions that I ask each of my team at check-in meetings and project meetings. And those include, what are your current priorities that may need to be shifted? What challenges might you face in getting this project or task completed? And what resources do you need to ensure successful completion? So from your third and last quest for the scavenger hunt, as a leader in a remote setting, you'll have to use Post-it notes to jot down key points, notes, details, and stats on the fly until you can enter it into the team's project management tool. A paper copy of your notes, assignments, or the 3 surveys is a demonstration of the accountability you have as a leader and team member to complete the work you're tasked with. The photo of your DECA team is a visual representation of the team for whom you are accountable to. If you don't complete the tasks and projects assigned to you, you're not the only one that suffers, your whole team does, because it can prevent individuals on your team to continue or to take on that project or the next steps within that project. The board game and puzzle symbolizes the problem solving and creativity skills you'll be needing to use almost on a daily basis to ensure success for yourself and your team. So holding your team accountable as a leader or manager means that you're problem solving all the time, which ultimately helps to build and enhance your problem solving skills. And that rounds out the top 3 transferable skills most sought after by employers. So let's talk about leadership in action then. My last polling question to you is, again, you'll have 30 seconds to respond, and it's a multiple choice. So your top leadership principle, and this would have been one of the surveys that you would have completed as pre-work, is one of your top leadership principle, does it include mindfulness, inclusivity, empowerment, creativity, evolution, reflectiveness, humility, tenacity, and/or competence? So 30 seconds to respond. And again, there isn't a right or wrong answer, but rather be flexible and aspire to develop all these principles to be an effective leader. Okay, 15 seconds left. Excellent. Let's see how people answer. And again, keep in mind, no wrong answer, but these are all fantastic skills and principles that great leaders possess. Not necessarily all of them in the same amount, but rather, again, drawing on the principles dependent on situation and challenge. So excellent. Awesome. So we see a lot of creativity, mindfulness, inclusivity, as well as reflectiveness. So again, no wrong answer. All of these principles are great to have. And this survey is for you to kind of keep in mind and to look at so that you know the areas that you need to continue to develop. And the survey, you can absolutely take it again in 6 months, or maybe perhaps after DECA Provincials or after ICDC to see how you've improved or enhanced these skills. So let's talk about leadership in action. So what do you do now? where do you find the opportunities to build your leadership skills in an online and remote environment? An online and remote environment provides opportunities for you to develop and enhance different skills. So for example, communications. With the lack of in-person interactions, plus the diverse ways that we communicate online, there's an opportunity for you to polish both your written skills through email, texting, and or formal reports that you need to submit, and your oral communication skills, whether that be in a virtual team meeting setting or one-on-one team meeting setting or leadership facilitation setting. So you want to leverage the opportunities, that as many opportunities as you can. So leveraging them first means that you need to identify the skills that you feel you need to enhance or improve, and then find the opportunities to build these skills. Note that there will always be skills that can be improved on, and you don't become an expert in anything overnight. You become an expert with knowledge, skill, and practice, but most importantly, time. So look at the influence and impact for opportunities that you want to seek. In addition to look to who might be good candidates to help mentor you and to help guide you through your skill enhancement in terms of leadership. Oh, oi, come on. There we go. So that concludes the workshop portion of the my talking portion of the workshop, and I'll stop sharing my screen now, and we can open the floor up to questions.
Patty,
And
just
at this point,
first-
if anyone, sorry, Keaton, if anyone wants
so
to turn off their camera, that's okay.
Yeah, first, before we go and start the Q&A, I just want to go over 3 things you guys will need to move on to the DECA ICDC, which is the International Career Development Conference. So the first thing you need to do is pretty simple. It's attend all these workshops. You're already one out of 5, so good job on that. The other 2 is an Instagram story challenge and a feedback form. So the Instagram story challenge instructions page, you'll be directed to right when you leave each workshop. It'll come up external site, just click continue, and you'll be directed right to the page. On that page, you will see a link for the feedback forms, which we want you to fill out after the 5 workshops. These feedback forms will also be sent to you by DECA Ontario on Monday, just in case you forget, but hopefully you do not, because you need to fill it out to be considered. All this Instagram story challenge is just 3 questions about leadership. They're not right or wrong, so you don't have to worry. It's just to show that you go the extra mile when wanting to be considered for ICDC. If you have any questions about this, again, all the instructions are laid out in the instructions page. But if you do have questions, our emails, again, are on the instructions page, and just email us. We will message you back. Farah has decided just to put the link in the chat if you guys want to click on that and save it for right now. And yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Farah to talk about the Q&A logistics real quickly.
Yeah, thanks. Just to add, if some people don't have an Instagram account, an option, you go to the Instagram page and then take a screenshot, answer it, and then email that answer to us, and then we can save that. Okay, so we will now move on to the Q&A session. Patty will go through the Q&A function on WebEx, and then thank you to those who've sent in your questions. We will be answering those during this time. We do encourage you to unmute and turn on your camera. So because all of you are now panelists, you have the option to turn on your camera and unmute yourselves. So we'd love to see some engagement. So that would be great if you can all do that as well. And yeah, so don't be afraid to ask your questions, unmute yourselves and speak. Patty, if you have any questions that you'd like to start answering, please go ahead. I think there's one question in the Q&A.
Yeah, so Edwin asks, I have a question about the leadership dynamic skills inventory. What does the development part mean? That's for you, Patty.
Okay. Give me one quick second while I open up the leadership skills document. Okay, Edwin, was it a specific question within the survey that you're asking in terms of, that was the leadership skills?
The dynamic skills inventory.
Okay,
Like for the development, do they mean like whether you still need to develop the skills or like?
Yes, yeah, if you feel you still have room for improvement.
So does that mean we basically check 2 boxes per row? Because one side it says rarely, occasionally true, and almost always, and then development.
Yes, yeah, you would be checking 2 boxes.
Oh, okay.
So again, no right or wrong answer. This is for your own development and for your own purposes, where you determine whether or not you're mindful, if you're synthesizing, if you're the type of leader that synthesizes, are inclusive, are empowering, and whether or not each one of those skills you feel you have room to improve.
Okay.
Okay. And actually, I did lie. There is one correct answer for this skill, leadership dynamic skill inventory. And each and every one of you should have answered yes in the development section. Because again, as a manager and as a team lead, I feel that everyone, including myself, still have room to develop and to continue to enhance our skills. So for example, I'm just going to randomly pick one of these skills. So like say reflective. I continuously seek feedback and analyze my experiences to gain understanding of myself. Now, in terms of development, can I ask more people? Can I ask more of my peers for feedback? Can I ask Keaton and Farah for feedback from my co-op students? Absolutely. And if they have fantastic insight into something that I need to improve on, then that's a win for me to be able to have reflected and reached out to them to ask how I can continue to improve my skills.
So
All right.
Patty, another question that I think a lot are wondering is, what is ICDC?
Oh my. Okay, so most of you, if you are not aware of what ICDC, that's the International Career Development Conference, and that's held annually in April. And it is a week-long DECA conference that's hosted by DECA International. And that is, so if you are participating and competing at the provincials and you win your category in the provincials, you move on to the into the international level of the competition, which means that you're competing against DECA students from all over the world. I've attended and have had the pleasure and the honor to judge at the ICDC, and the level of competition is extreme at times, but super, super exciting. And I would say the last year, so not last year, but that would be 2019, which would have been the last in-person ICDC. Our DECA Ontario students competed against teams from Korea, from Japan, from New Zealand, from Germany, from Switzerland, from the States. And that's just a few of the countries who attended and competed at the international level. So, and if you win at the international level, that is an extreme level to be at where you would garner the respect of every one of your peers, in addition to all of the DECA students across the world. So it's definitely something to shoot for and definitely worth attending. So for the ICDC, as it pertains to the LDA conference, the School of Accounting and Finance will select 50 students out of all of the registrants for the LDA for them to move on to the next level of the Leadership Development Academy, which means that you'll have the opportunity to develop additional and further enhance your leadership skills, but at an international level. Okay, so you'd be developing your skills with students, DECA students from all over the world. All right, so if anyone wants or has any additional questions about ICDC, please don't hesitate to put it into the Q&A. So I see we have a question here. What is your biggest advice to young people in regards to leadership? And do you have any tips for people that want to develop their leadership skills while having no contact with the team? That's a great question. So advice in terms of leadership, I would say take advantage of any and all opportunities that come your way. Of course, depending on the time available that you have, right? So you don't want to overtax yourself with too many activities where you would be doing a mediocre job in all of the activities versus selecting 2 or 3 that you're truly passionate about and doing an excellent job in those opportunities. And my general advice to peeps who in this remote setting where you don't have contact with a team, but you do have contact through your school courses with your peers. So anytime that there's a team event or team assignment, you can always demonstrate and enhance your leadership skills by taking on a leadership role or leadership role in a big L situation, as in you're the team lead, or leadership within a little L definition where you may not be the team lead, but say you are a contributor to the project, but you make sure that you take on that leadership skill or take on that leadership role by informing, keeping your team informed, letting them know what you're doing, and coming up with new and creative ideas to enhance that project. And that's how you develop your leadership skills. So mostly leadership skills are motivation and extra mile. So in terms, and obviously utilizing those opportunities to polish your communication skills. Again, going back to the top 3 transferable skills that employers are looking for, which are also the top 3 skills that great leaders are made of. That's communication, teamwork and team skills, communication, and and collaboration. So making sure that you find those opportunities to develop those skills. All right. Does that help, Lorraine?
I have one question. So basically, to get into the ICDC, you just need to complete the Insta Story challenge and the feedback form.
Yes, and attend each workshop.
Okay, good.
So I'll mention it again in the next couple workshops as well, just to give you guys a refresher. But yeah, just complete those 3 things and you're good to go. But all the instructions are in the link, and you will be directed to the link once you leave this workshop as well.
I'm sorry, I have another question. So I have other extracurriculars and I won't be able to make all of the meetings. So are there any other ways I can like try and sort of like attend be considered for ICDC, or is that like not possible?
No, that is absolutely possible. What I would suggest that you do is you send an email to myself or to Farah or to Keaton or to all three of us. Maybe perhaps to all three of us, just to make sure that we receive your message, and indicate and let us know which workshops that you would not be able to attend due to your extracurricular, and we would need to know what that extracurricular is.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one question. Alison, what are some examples you have seen of people taking leadership in university? Everyday examples and extraordinary examples.
Okay, so you guys are actually witnessing an example right now. So Farah and Keaton have taken on the leadership roles for the organization and the logistics of this entire LDA conference. So what they've done is, what I've done is I've delegated this conference, the logistics, to Keaton and to Farah, and they've pretty much run with it and determined what's the best fit and what works best in the platform logistically. And they've worked with each one of the presenters for the workshop in terms of logistics, working through their presentation, working through their slide deck, and in addition to developing the feedback form, developing the Instagram challenge, and making sure that the conference is promoted effectively, as well as creating and developing the website, the DECA Conferences website on the School of Accounting and Finance larger web page. Okay, so Farah, can you repeat the question again, just to make sure that I've answered it completely?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. What are examples you have seen of people taking leadership in university? So everyday examples or extraordinary examples.
Okay, so there's always lots and lots of examples where students will take initiative. So there are extracurricular and co-curricular opportunities for our students to take on leadership roles. So one very, very recent example is we have a student team of 3 students who volunteered and were selected to compete for the CFA Institute Research Challenge. And this competition is an 8-month-long competition. Started in November, and they made it through the preliminary rounds, and they competed for the Ontario title just on Wednesday, right? No, last night. Last night, right, Farah?
Yes, it was last night.
Okay, they competed last night for the Ontario title, won that title, and now they're moving on to the North American finals. Now, these 3 students were motivated enough and keen enough to want to take on leadership role to represent the School of Accounting and Finance, represent the University of Waterloo, but this 8-month competition also means additional work for each one of them over and above their either co-op work term or over and above their current study term. So sometimes leadership can mean taking on additional work and knowing and acknowledging that that means more work, but in the end, what they gain is development of their leadership skills and demonstration of their ability to balance their schoolwork or their work with this extra responsibility, and then also having the opportunity to represent the University of Waterloo on an international stage. So if they if they're successful in the North American finals, they move on to the world finals. And the School of Accounting and Finance student team was the first and still is the only Canadian student team to have won the International CFA Institute Research Challenge. And we won that in 2016. All right, I hope that helps to answer and provide a couple of examples, and I'm trying to be cognizant of time. We're at 6:16 now, and I do see one more question in the Q&A. So if everyone is okay, I'm happy to respond to that question and then call it an evening, or end this workshop until your 7 p.m. workshop. Okay, so last question. What is your advice for a student who is interested in the HR field in terms of further developing leadership skills? As well, are there any courses you would recommend taking to enhance your leadership skills? So participating in DECA and participating in the Leadership Development Academy is definitely first great step in terms of taking courses. And when you move into university studies, most universities will have certificate programs for students to help polish your leadership skills. So as part of my introduction, I had indicated that I'm a senior facilitator and teacher for the Student Success Office. And I'm a senior facilitator specifically for the Student Leadership Program, which includes 12 modules. When you complete all 12 modules, students are provided with a leadership certificate that they can absolutely include on their LinkedIn profile and in their resume, and to immediately apply the skills and the tips and advice, best practices that are provided in each one of those 12 modules to whatever they do, whether they're competing in representing their university in competitions, or taking on leadership roles in clubs and varsity sports. So first part of your question, Alyssa, was what is your advice for a student who is interested in the HR field? So if you're interested in the HR field, that generally means that you're looking at and needing to be very well versed in terms of leadership styles, and being able to recognize those leadership styles to then be able to recommend and or advise and or mentor someone to guide them where they want to go towards in terms of their career. So advice in terms of how to gain that is definitely, if you can, find opportunities to work in an HR setting to see what HR means from a grassroots foundation and kind of business behind the scenes type of opportunities, as well as taking on any roles where you would need to manage and or organize events and teams where you'll need to vet either applicants and or interview people, because being in HR, you're going to need to polish those skills. But what it all boils down to is polishing the same skills and the top 3 transferable skills that are needed that every employer is looking for: communication, team skills, and collaboration. Okay. I think those are all the questions. So thank you everyone for attending this workshop. I'll turn it over to Farah and Keaton for closing remarks.
Yeah, so great questions, guys. Sorry if we missed a couple. We're short here on time. We're actually over time. So Patty, great job. We hope to see you guys at the next event at 7, so in 39 minutes. Remember to complete the Instagram story challenge and feedback form. We'll mention it again at next event. And if you have more questions about that, please email us, and our emails are in the link that you will be directed to once you click leave. So remember again to click the link that DECA Ontario sent you to join the next event and the 3 on Saturday. Thank you guys for your time. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and you may not be seeing Patty, but you will be seeing myself and Farah at the next few events. So you're free to leave now, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You.
You guys.
Thank you.